Well, and this is Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
And I'd be Slick.
And we're here to talk a little bit about computers, technology.
And the internet.
There you go. It's been another big week of everybody talking about the web. I mean, I think it's funny because it used to be, it was only about software and only about hardware that people would get excited about. But this week it's been, hardware, software, and the internet. And that's been kind of the big focus is about the internet and new things happening. And I think the rollout of Google Plus has been probably one of the most excited things. People are saying, "Oh, are you leaving Facebook?" You know, it's kind of like what they did with MySpace. It's, you say, "Okay, see you later, MySpace," and everybody goes over to, Facebook. And now I think people are expecting that 750 million user base to leave Facebook and go to Google now in droves, which I don't know if that's going to happen. I've finally got in yesterday morning, and so throughout the day I would go on and I'd add things and kind of create things, but I don't know. Facebook is working, so why would I want to switch to Google Plus?
Well, they lifted the ban and let you in. I'll be darned. That was a surprise. I thought I had wrote a big long note explaining why.
Yeah, no, they went ahead. Now let's let them in.
Okay, let me let's take a left turn real quick. We'll come right back to this.
All right.
MySpace. Had any thoughts?
Well, I don't know. I'm really wondering now because it's been sold, and I have to. I mean, I hate to say I have to laugh because Rupert bought it for what, $500 and something million.
I thought I read, and we'll probably stumble across the number here in a little bit, but I thought I read that he paid like $355 million, and they sold it for $35 to $50 million. I mean, those are the numbers I remember in the story.
Yeah,
okay?
I think actually
could be way off.
I think the number's higher. I think he paid something like $500 million.
Did he?
Plus, and sold it for. I thought, well, now, Mr. Murdoch, you feel it now. You know what the housing market feels like.
and let's stay with this and make maybe even a more left turn.
Yeah.
Because what is it? What's the name of the newspaper he had in England? That
News of the World.
Is tomorrow.
News of the World. It was. As Nick Frost said, Nick, who was in Shaun of the Dead, I think he said that his grandpa used to call it the whore's rag.
I don't remember anything from News of the World, so I guess what I'm going to need to do is eventually pull up, some old stories and the website and the whole thing. But was it the UK version of the National Enquirer?
I would say more like the UK version of the Globe, although it was as big. It probably was as big as as the Enquirer is here in the States. People still read that. I think, and the crazy thing is, I think an era of credibility came upon the Enquirer when we had the whole anthrax thing. You remember that?
They actually did do something where everybody was like, "That came from the Enquirer."
Yeah, I have a feeling that something happened there that suddenly it kind of adjusted its position a little. It's still a rag, no matter how you look at it. But I think
they went back to it, is what they did.
Yeah, maybe, but that's very possible. News of the World, I think, was the kind of the whole gossip kind of column newspaper, and that's another one that Rupert had. And with all of this stuff that's coming out, that is just mind-boggling that a reporter would go this far to get a story. It makes you wonder, wow, just how bad is it? And who broke? Have you heard the story about who broke the story?
On News of the World?
Yeah.
No.
The person that broke the story was the Hugh Grant, the actor, and apparently he got into a verbal argument with one of the editors or writers or something like that, who actually said, "Oh, we've got this and we've got that," and was boasting about the fact that they had hacked into his phone.
And
Hugh took
Revenge of the Celebrity.
And Hugh took a step back and thought, "You've done what?" And was going over things and telling him things that only he would know.
Uh-huh.
So he decided to go ahead and follow this up and contacted authorities. And that's where they found out. And they've made 2 arrests in this case. One of them was a former communications person for Number 10. For the
Downing Street?
Yeah, for the for the prime minister. I'm not sure which prime minister, if it was Tony Blair or the current prime minister, but was a former communications person for them, or communications intern. And then now, then they've just arrested somebody else as well. So they're wondering now, is this just limited to News of the World? Has this extended to other papers? And now I can't fathom, I just can't fathom the idea of somebody being dead and somebody hacking into your phone and getting, finding out, well, who were his friends? Who were his acquaintances?
I can, because you and I have had to. I know I have, and you have had to. We've worked with some sleazy people in radio. Come on. And they will do anything for ratings. Anything. Just like people in print will do anything to sell the rag, whatever it is.
Well, I think now, like, say, we've had instances where soldiers have passed away, and you want to pay respects to the family. So what do you do now? You search for them on Facebook. Many times it's said you can see, that person's profile. They haven't closed it off, and that's happened. And you do that. News agencies will actually go and grab the photo off of there and say courtesy of Facebook. Yeah. They do that. But I don't think, as far as hacking into the phones, though, there was a story last night on the news about a father whose son was killed, and apparently they got not only into his phone but into his emails. So which brings us back to the whole, how secure is your profile? And who handles your profile when you go?
Yeah.
The last thing you want is somebody to get on and say, well, I want to be able to remember a password, so I'm going to change it to my password, which is password, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the last. So, a family member gets in there and does it and then changes it, and then all of that stuff. Because generally you don't want to delete that. I mean, we've never deleted, I don't think we've ever deleted the Wally password, the Wally email account. Mm-mm. Doesn't go anywhere, but out of respect and out of, hey, he's always a part of the show. That happens when somebody passes away. People will just leave stuff up. And I've had friends I had a good friend of mine that was killed a few years ago, and I had just fixed her computer, but God, they nobody knew how to get in and adjust her MySpace. They came to me as being the last person to fix her system, and I said, I don't know. I said, it's nothing we wrote down. The best thing to do is log into her computer and hope that she had set the password to remember it every time she logged in, which she didn't. So it still is out there.
Yeah, I think, and I don't remember why, but I would bet I've contacted somebody, Facebook or MySpace or whoever, at least once, notifying them that someone had died. This, I'm sure it didn't have anything to do with Wally, but notifying the service that somebody had died, that I am not requesting access to their account or anything, but I'm informing them that they may want to try to follow up. And here's the information. Here's some contact information I think I have for family members.
Yeah.
Family members, significant others, whatever. I think I've done that once because some didn't really have a policy, at least a policy I could find, so I didn't know what else to do. So I just emailed them and I go, look, I'm just making you aware. I don't know what steps you want to take, but you can't, I think you should kind of monitor this profile, because leaving it open, it may not be such a good idea, because I can see some things winding up on the profile already.
Right. Or it could be hacked. Somebody assumed that identity. I mean, there's so many different things that can happen with it. You've got to be concerned. And now the fact that these guys were hacking into emails and getting, private information, it just, again, it makes you really, really wonder.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Back to MySpace then.
All right.
So what do you think? Because the company, I haven't looked up any information on the company that purchased it. It became, Tom did what he did with it, and then Rupert saw that, got greedy and thought he could buy it and make something of it, and just ruined it. And then they tried to, be entertainment, music, videos, la la la. They still didn't fix all the dance and baloney on people's profiles. I didn't want to go back. Just didn't get any better. And they tried all kinds of stuff to get people to spend time on MySpace. Nothing.
How could they have changed that, though? I mean, if you think about it, like if you were running MySpace, how would you have changed it to make it more viable? I mean, because I remember the first time I looked at Facebook, I thought, oh, this sucks. I couldn't see the relevance in it. The same thing people thought about Twitter. 140 characters. Why is this interesting?
Well, now Twitter, I don't know so much about MySpace, but Twitter was built on the fact of just a message, and I don't think they really even cared to try to make it a business. They thought it was a neat tool. They made it work, and then they thought, hey, this is kind of catching on. Maybe we can do something with this. In the case of MySpace, Tom just put together, it was a creation of love, I think.
Yeah.
Because it didn't start out the way it is now. I mean, it was basic. You could leave messages, you could picture pictures, Maybe he considered it to be a competitor to Friendster and all the other stuff was out there. I'm not so sure that he thought he could be as big as it got. That's how I feel about it, about MySpace. What do they do with it now? I would, if I were them, and I wish I could read their mind. I really do. But if I were them, I would have pared back. I would have gone, listen, we've gone nuts. Let's back up a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
And look at Facebook at the corner of your eye. But what did MySpace do well in the first place?
Connected people.
Yeah,
That's pretty much it.
What could it potentially do well in the future? It doesn't have to be different than Facebook. Doesn't have to be the same as Facebook. But what could MySpace be that would make it better? And then you start competing with others.
Well, I think it all depends, too, on the business plan, doesn't it? I mean, the business model for how you're going to operate. If you just create something and put it on the web and you have no way to monetize it, no way to, I mean, if it's just a hobby, it's a hobby. But if suddenly it's costing you money in server space and, and in fees from other people, then next thing you know, you've got a business that you need to find a way to monetize that. I think Rupert thought, I can monetize this with ads. He thought the internet was going to be about ads, but I think he found out quickly when Facebook arrived, the ads are not as obtrusive with Facebook. They're on the side, and maybe I will find some usefulness in it. They localized the ads. They didn't make these national ads. They made these local ads for people in those markets, and when they weren't used up by the local space, then the national ones took over. Kind of almost the same model as what local radio used to be about.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if maybe Facebook took that whole approach to it, that whole kind of radio approach, connection, locality, whereas MySpace was more connection, nationality, where I think it took a lot of that local feature out of it. And that's kind of what Facebook has added. Not only that, but also, same types of industries, same types of connections. And, it's still continuing to grow. What did they say this week? 750 billion users. Or no, 750 million. That would be a lot of people. 750 million users on Facebook.
Yeah, although I wouldn't be, if you said billion, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the thing just it's huge, unbelievably huge.
What does it tell you? Okay, we talked about this just a couple of weeks ago, Slick. GoDaddy sold for what, 2 points? Well, actually, it didn't sell. They had partners that came in, so it's still the same management team, and they have some new partners. But they ingested what they put in $2.25 billion into the company, and MySpace sold for what? How much? $35 billion. It kind of just shows you that was something on a supposed to be a bigger scale, but in essence, it wasn't.
Yeah. And I don't. Maybe this is an unfair characterization of Rupert and Fox and the News Corps and the whole thing. And if it is, then I'll take the hit for it. But I just think, I look at what Rupert Murdoch has done with the properties that he's owned, and using Fox as the biggest example.
Yeah.
I mean, he pandered to the most common denominator, and that's what MySpace did especially when News Corps ran it. So. They got to get back to that passion and love like we talk about all the time about radio and the internet and stuff. Do what you do because you love it. Sure, try to make money, try to be successful, make a business out of it, be profitable. But don't, if you're doing it for greed, hey, some things just crash and burn and you be ready for it.
Well, I think you have to look at it like, some businesses will come in and they'll buy a business and they'll say, well, let's just see how long this business can operate. Let's just do this and see how long we can keep this going. I think that maybe they looked at MySpace in the same way. They didn't look at it long term. They just looked at it like, okay, let's just see where we can go with this. Whereas I think to survive, especially now, I mean, you just look at what's happened this last week. To survive, you have to look at new ways. And I hate this term, and you hear it overused in radio, and now you're hearing it overused in network television too. You have to reinvent yourself, and that's kind of like what Facebook is the big push this week was. Listen, we're not going to sit on our hands and let Google get all of this glory this week with Google Plus. Let's make some announcements. Let's form some partnerships. We've got enough capital now into our operation. Let's do this. And it's funny because the big announcement from Facebook this week was Skype, and of course the addition of Skype into your Facebook chats. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a good thing. Honestly, I turn off chats. Once in a while, I'll turn the chats on. If I just think, well, I haven't talked to somebody in a long time, maybe I'll look for them to see if they're on chat. But generally, I click on the button, go up to options, and then say, disable chat.
Yeah.
Now with video chat, is it going to make me use the service more? No. If I want that, they'll be on my Skype list, which is interesting when you think about it, because Microsoft is going to be owning Skype.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure I've said this before. My favorite chat client is Yahoo Instant Messengers because if I'm trying to just talk to you and get some business done, I can show to you that I'm visible and nobody else. And then when I'm ready, then I can show like to my mother, my kids, or whoever that I'm available. Well, when I'm trying to focus, you and I are trying to focus on stuff. I don't want people going, "Hi, how you doing?" Not now. I'm busy. Like which happens with Skype and Windows Live Messenger, as well as Facebook Live. Have you tried the Facebook Live yet?
No, I didn't. I couldn't even figure out where to do that.
I tried it, and because and it's me and the usual anti Adobe Flash, because it's Flash. I had problems initiating it at the beginning.
Right.
And then when I got the plug-in to work and all that kind of stuff, then I called people, and I can't tell if I'm having a problem calling out or they're just too busy to respond or whatever. So as usual, I just kind of gave, as soon as I saw the interface and saw that I'm either online and everybody can see me or I'm offline and nobody can see me, I said, I'm not going to bother using this. I'm just not.
Wow.
Not.
So how is it enabled throughout the entire service?
Yes.
So how does somebody get to it? Do they go to facebook.com/live or?
No, the easiest way to get to it that I found is you log into your account like you normally do, and then you look for, I don't have Facebook open up right now, but I think it's in the lower right-hand corner. You'll see the little chat thing, and eventually a message will pop up because they offer to. They go, "Would you like to go Facebook Live?" So that's one way to get into it. But as soon as you start to try to do a Facebook Live chat with somebody, then it'll kick in. And then it'll probably install the plugin, and then you just click on somebody's name and choose the conference. But and it's 1-to-1. So if you want to do conference calling more than one person, you can't use Facebook Live.
Really?
Yes.
I just screwed up. I'm trying to put a link up on Facebook. Let me get this done here. All right, so I'm on Facebook right now. So let me see if I can get this done. So I type in here. I put like. Gosh, I'm not having a good typing week. You ever have those?
Yeah, actually, ever since I quit biting my nails when I was a kid. That was one of the as bad as some people think it sounds and is. When you're a child and you bite your nails, that's the time for you to learn to type. Because now, the older I get, the more I didn't bite my nails, and they just, I'm cutting them one, maybe 2 times a week, and I'm like, come on, for crying out loud, am I that healthy?
Wait a minute, what happened here? I totally screwed up. I'm trying to send, on Tech Talk Radio,
I'll log into Facebook with you.
Talking about Google Plus and Facebook Live. Come watch the show. Here we go. Watch the show and participate in the chat.
I'm now online with Facebook chat. Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to go.
Let's see how long it takes for you to get the message here. Okay.
Well, I'm looking at Facebook chat and you're not logged on, so you're still logged off.
Yeah, give me a second here, and then
See if there's anybody on Facebook chat that we know in the chat room, techtalkradio.com/live. Nobody.
all right, here we go.
I don't really want to call anybody either. Oh, wait. Where's G?
She's inside. Is she on? She might be on.
Let's see.
Let's have a look here.
Start a video
All right, so I'm
call.
going to chat, and then I go to online. Okay, so now I'm online, and there's options there. I don't see anything for video. Okay, so
It wants me now. This is new. I don't remember this happening before. Different browser, but I'm using a browser now called Wizzo, WYZO,
all right.
and it's a version of Firefox. It's probably an older version 3. This is the first time this has happened. I clicked on chat. I became available in chat. I clicked on Gloria's name. I was going to start chat with her, and now it wants me to download a file. Facebook video call setup _v1 dot blah 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 dot exe. I'm going to save the file, but I am not going to install it.
No, I wouldn't. That's an executable, not a plugin.
Right.
That sounds a little suspect.
It may sound suspect, but they're actually, it looks valid because there's also a pop-up instruction window. So I don't think anybody, if I were trying to get somebody, I wouldn't go through all this trouble.
Yeah. See, I don't see it. I'm looking under my my chat options, and I don't see a video. But do I have to? And I won't be able to connect with anybody because my camera's in use with Wirecast.
Yeah, which browser are you using?
I'm using IE 8.5.
All right. Well.
I've got 9 on the other one.
Tell you what, go ahead. You don't have to follow all the way through with the procedure, but
Okay,
go ahead
so
and click on chat and to see what happens.
Okay, I did, and I'm clicking to Dale. All right, to Gandalf, and I don't see a little camera in there.
There should be when the chat window opens up, like when I'm looking at Gloria. Hi, G. When I open up the window to type her text message,
Right.
there's her name, and then there's just a little camera icon, and you put the cursor on it to
Yeah.
start a video call.
Yeah, mine doesn't do that. Now, it could be because my camera's in use.
Yeah, I guess it could be. And technically, I do have 2 cameras available to me, one on the notebook computer as well as the external creative camera that we're using for the broadcast.
Right. And see, Gloria does have a camera, so we Skype every morning. Which I just wonder then, so what do we do? Just move to Facebook and use it that way? You know?
I would, because here's the thing. I love, well, no, I guess I still do. I love the Facebook, in Facebook messages where you can send people text messages or whatever. I love that you can record a video and send it to somebody, and the video can be up to 20 minutes long. Again, I hate that it runs on Adobe Flash because it doesn't always work for me.
But that's a way to get the highest quality, isn't it?
It's not consistent, so I don't care about quality.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it doesn't always work, so I just don't care about quality.
Gandalf is saying, stay with Skype. And I agree. I'm actually paying for a Skype service. I pay for our group calling feature, which Justin is wasting away today. But I noticed. I think I would just stay with Skype on that.
Justin, you owe us coffee.
Yeah, he does. Doesn't he? He's going to have to drive out here.
Well, he can send mine as long as I get it. I don't care. Just sick.
He has an iPhone, so he could actually be doing this Ustream cast with an iPhone.
Yes, he can.
Yeah.
Which we'll try to navigate to some Apple conversation here in a bit.
All right.
Because we still got another subject that's kind of related that we got to get to.
Hold on, let me show you something. I thought this was really good. Raven sent this over. Now, I don't know if you can see your monitor, but let me bring this up. This shows the evolution of the user. I don't know who created this, but I thank Raven for sending it. Give all credit where credit's due. It's the real evolution of the Google user, starting with let's see, it would be LiveJournal.
Mm.
Then moving up to let's see, that would be Friendster, which I never used.
Oh,
did you ever
heard about that.
Did you ever use Friendster?
No, people tried to get me on it, but I didn't see the need. I mean, because I got friends. I didn't need Friendster. I only got on MySpace because when I was on KRQ, the radio station, my listeners kept going, "What's your MySpace page? What's your MySpace page?" All right, fine, I'll get one.
Well, and then we were the ones who were doing it to you for Facebook.
Yeah, that's all your fault. Because now I have two accounts, thank you very much. One for the professional side of my life and the other for the personal. And I was thinking that was the best way to do it until I find out that some people in my personal life were kind of upset because they weren't involved in my professional Facebook account. And I was like, but that's why I have two. I'm trying to keep the lives separate.
Do you remember I had two? I actually had two accounts. I had my real name, because I've got a radio name.
Your birth name.
And then I have my, Andy Taylor, the Tech Talk Radio one. And I used it for a while, and I had like 40 viewers or 40 connections, and Gloria was one of them. My kids were, my sister and brother-in-law. You were one of them, and I just had a very, very basic friend list. But then after a while, I never checked it, and I finally just said, oh, forget it. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this one. And so I did.
Yeah, I did, and some people don't understand it. I think, in general, in my case, some people in my personal life just don't understand it, and that's okay. But you had to, I tried to explain to them, you had to be there. You had to have lived my life. It's not an excuse. It's a reason, and you don't have to agree with the reason, but it is a reason. When I want other people to know about my children or my other family members, people who really shouldn't take the brunt of negative feedback that could happen from what I do in my personal life, because I can in my professional life, because in my professional life I can be rude, I can be offensive, not on purpose, but it happens in trying to be entertaining and being the personality that I am.
Yeah.
And I didn't want my family to catch, I'm embarrassed, that's my father, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I've tried to separate the two. And they were like, why don't you have pictures of the kids on your Facebook professional account? Because, people track kids. I've been stalked once before by a woman. And
it took me a long time to put my kids' pictures on mine.
Yeah, I won't. Unless the only exception I will make is that I have a son who I thought was at some point we were going to wind up doing a radio show together.
Right.
I would have put his picture on my professional account. I would have put pictures of his siblings on my professional account if he and I had somehow discussed his siblings on radio or in our professional life, because he's also an actor.
Right.
Had the rest of the family come up in our professional life, then I would have referred to them. But, the danger, I just feel there's a danger there, man, and I just don't want somebody going, oh, that's what his little child looks like. Now I know what his little child looks like. I'm not going through that, man.
Yeah, that was the one thing, and I have girls, so that was the one thing. And it can be used against you. I just take the standpoint, I was doing a broadcast one day, and I said, oh, my family's all here with me and blah, blah, blah on the air. Wouldn't you know, we got home, our house had been robbed. And the police department at the time, this is when I lived in California, it said, well, they probably heard your broadcast, said, hey, he said his whole family's with him. Let's go. We added an alarm system like the next week, but it's one of those things that you think, oh, nobody's going to care. But yeah, there are people out there that will do that. Now, I have a dilemma with Facebook. I'll share this with you. As you know, I work in radio, and I've worked in radio. I worked in radio for about 5 years before I started Tech Talk Radio. And I do morning radio, I do afternoon drive, I do basically everything when it comes to being on air. I have a regular on-air shift. I work at a small station that's in Green Valley, just outside of Tucson. And I work at a station in Tucson itself. Been lucky because both kind of said, all right, as long as we don't promote the other one on the air and we kind of keep it quiet, we're all right. But my dilemma is, for both stations, I want to be able to go on the air and say, hey, connect with me on Facebook, right? But I can't, because I can't say Tech Talk Radio. I feel wrong saying that, because this is an actual Tech Talk Radio is an actual business. We hope to make money with it. We haven't made any money, but so I have to look at it. It's a personal thing. So all I have to, and it's really my main account. With all the connections I have, they come from personal. They come from my acting career. They come from radio. They come from relatives. They come from people that I went to high school with. So I've kept everything on that. So, and everything I share on my Facebook page is all me. This is everything. Whether it's, I'm going to have a nice dinner at this restaurant, to I'm playing with this new piece of technology. And it's funny because I'll see sometimes when I start talking a lot about tech, and on the Facebook page, I'll actually see people drop off. I'll see numbers kind of drop away a little.
Mm.
And then the same goes for, Twitter. When I Twitter personal stuff, I'll see some of those people who've come because they think I'm tech to move away. So my dilemma is you're only supposed to have one account on Facebook.
And you know what? I threw that away because if when Zuck puts his dog on Facebook, all bets are off, man. I don't care. Because he was all about the terms of service. Oh yeah, we only really want one Facebook. It's all about connection. And he puts his dog on there. Forget you, Zuck. Actually, stronger words I'd like to use, but not. This is a family show,
right?
So forget about it, man. You put your dog on there, all right?
Yeah.
So I don't. Don't you ever, Mark Zuckerberg? Don't you ever complain about what I do on Facebook, ever?
Don't be telling me anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
but not to go too far into this, what we just talked about a little bit ago. Like you were talking about mixing your personal and professional life. I mean, let's face it. The bottom line is this: the girls are beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
We got to protect your girl. I mean, your two daughters is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So.
Don't forget my third one, Jessica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, where? Oh, is she back?
Yeah. She's back in California, but I mean, her and I finally connected on Facebook too.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, I do. Well, I'm thinking of the two that were in the house.
Yeah.
I figured Jess was like out, woo, partying, man. But no, you're right. All three of them, they're very beautiful. So I don't blame you for being concerned about putting their pictures, because their pictures are beautiful. They're beautiful women, and they're beautiful pictures.
Yeah.
And I would be hesitant. I mean, I would. You ready to hit the button? You go, look, world, but at the same time, you're like, wait a minute.
Well, and then the other thing was too is they get older. I'm the kind of dad that allows them to be them. I've been kind of a watchful eye on what they do when they're online and what connections I have in my house, vis-a-vis LimeWire or Napster or the new one FrostWire, which I just found the other day and is now gone. Those are those things. However, I let them be them. And I think that's what made me say, well, one day I looked at their profiles and I was like, okay, they're grown up.
They're getting older.
They're getting older. Scarlett's already 18, so now she's a young woman. If she just get off the Xbox and go find a job, things that you would think you would have with a young son. No, I get that with my daughter. And she's like, I wish I could find a way to turn this into a job. I'm like, yeah, go get one.
Turn what into a job?
Video game playing.
Oh, come on. All she's got to do, remember, we know lots of people, we've heard stories at least, of people who, just kind of almost wandered into gaming jobs from just being a gaming enthusiast. Yeah. She's got to just let people know, man. Even if she's done nothing, put together a resume of interest.
Well, I've told her, I said, check out Star Slayer's profile. There's one for you right there. But, she actually has characters and games modeled after her. That's pretty cool.
Contact and network, and if she's that interested in it, go for it, girl.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so back to the personal versus professional. I think a lot of people don't know how to set up group pages or like pages on Facebook. And what happens is they create a profile for that, thinking that's going to be, a profile, and then they decide, I need a like page. And then they create a like page, but they're using it with another account, and they haven't tied it to their first one. It has to be done methodically to be done right. Yeah. And once you do that, then you can assign administrators, and those are the people that go through and administer the account. And it's funny because at one of the two different radio instances, one of the radio stations I work at, I said, hey, listen, can I make this person an admin so they can update throughout the afternoon, because I do manage their website, and I am one of the administrators of their Facebook page. And their answer was no, because they don't know how to type. And they would be like typos. And I thought, well, that's a good way to get them to learn, But they said, so the owner of the station said, well, I'd like to try it. And I said, okay, and gave him the admin information, and he set up an admin. But now what he's doing is he's sending out Facebook messages about a movie he saw. And he said, he says, the thing is, he said, in this kind of environment, I want to be very personal and say, And I think, then why don't you promote that on the radio?
Yeah.
Instead of the Facebook. And so I don't know. I just think there's some confusion on how to use this huge marketing tool. The next one, at another radio station. The other day I walked by and I said to them, do you use your Facebook? Because I'd like to run updates on the weather that we're having and traffic, because I think maybe people will come through. She goes, well, we have a Facebook page, but we really don't do anything with it. And I was like, wow. She said, if you need anything, just email it to somebody who does manage it. So I looked at the page and I was like, wow, there's hardly any likes on this page. Let's see if we can bump that number up. And so I was on the air. Again, I can't promote who I am on the air because, so I almost need to come up with a different profile. And I'm thinking that's more radio driven away from Tech Talk Radio. And I think, no, but Tech Talk Radio is me.
People just need to think their internet activity and persona through. Think it through before you click on it. Because Facebook, in my case, was a good example. You invited me to Facebook. I didn't see the need to come to Facebook. I'm like, oh, for crying out loud! I got Yahoo groups and everything that I was doing at the time was working for me, and I was happy.
Right.
And then I said, all right, let's do the Facebook. So I did the Facebook, but I did the Facebook as an open public profile, okay, with my professional persona. And I went, all right, so we did that. And then I saw the benefit. So I was like, okay, you were right. Your statement to me was, you can network with a lot of your peers and stuff like that, and you were absolutely right. You were absolutely right. But then from the Tech Talk Radio portion, I said, all right, then let me create my personal profile and lock it down to see what the difference is from the public, because we've been talking about this, and people are like, I don't want them to see this, so I locked down my personal, so almost nothing went out, and made the professional open wide, so we could talk about it during the show. Well, if you do this, then they can't see that, and if you do this, then everybody can see it.
Right.
And I made the personal one the lockdown one, which was a good thing. So messages, personal messages about family members, illness, complaints, bickering, that kind of stuff stays personal, right?
Right.
So that, good lessons learned from both sides. And then Facebook came on with, okay, so you get your profile, then you get the pages. And I never saw the need for a page.
Right.
And then I tried to use a page. I tried to use a page a couple of ways. I tried to use a page with my you tried to use a page with my professional profile, but the response I got from Facebook was, well, we'll either convert you to a page or you can keep your profile. And I'm like, I'll keep the profile. I used a different email address to create a page. I created the page, but then saw all the work I had to put into the Facebook page and decided I wasn't going to use the Facebook page.
Right.
I mean, because to me, a Facebook page is in competition with a website. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep you from building a website.
Yeah, in some cases, in some cases there are companies too that have said, "Oh, we'll just create a Facebook page."
Yeah.
But
and they're not thinking it through.
No, they should have a page. Even you know what? Even if you don't.
Well, now when you say page, you mean web page, right?
Yeah, web page. Even if, that's why I'm saying. Even if it's a company that is small and they want to just have a page on the web where it shows their information, where they're at, where they're located at, why not have a single page site if you have to? I think a 5-page site, the more content, the better. Even a WordPress site if you have to. But have a site and have it linked from Facebook so people can come there and get your information. Then you're on the web, and you do this for, relatively no money. I mean, well, not no money. Well, if you do your own WordPress, yeah. But I'd say get your own domain and do it that way. It's pretty cheap. Actually, GoDaddy, we talked about them. They offer WordPress sites, very cheap. So you could have just basically WordPress and then have your own domain name and do all that bit. I mean, you could be up and running.
Totally agree.
For under $50.
But now, when you say $50, you mean that's the setup, the startup, right?
Yeah. So that's your fee. That's your domain name, and that's your site. So, and you can have that within a day if you wanted to. I mean, even if you know nothing about WordPress, you could probably weed through it. And maybe that's unfair, but you probably could. Or you call a company and have them do it for you for, a few $100 to $1,000, depending on what you want to put on it.
Yeah, and we use WordPress for our blog, and every so often I have a little trouble trying to make something fit the way I want it to. But in general, it's not a problem. It's really not a problem.
Well, it's one of those things that is continuing to evolve how people use the web. So I want to go back to this. I think this is kind of funny.
All right.
So in the illustration, you have the MySpace, and then you have what is Orkut? I never became familiar with Orkut.
Okay, think of Orkut as Facebook and MySpace for the world. It is huge and I think I've got this right, Brazil. If you do a check on Orkut, you'll find it's huge outside of the United States.
Okay.
Huge.
All right.
And because I have a Google logon, and they make the links available sometimes when you're trying to share stuff out from a picture or pages or whatever, I've actually got an Orkut. I was
really,
thinking, yeah, I do. And I was thinking because it was free from Google, because I've got a Google logon, so I just went ahead and took one.
Right.
And it's not that difficult. I mean, if you want to share stuff, you use like the add this and the shareaholics and all that kind of stuff. I just click share, that kind of thing. I thought. And I believed maybe the American economy just really isn't that important to Google in regards to Orkut. Maybe they're so successful elsewhere that they're like Americans. Well, yeah, we're an American company, but we don't need the Americans.
Right.
So that's my thought on Orkut. But I was kind of hoping, personally, just for personal reasons, that because Google was so competitive in other areas, that once Facebook or MySpace and then Facebook kind of kicked off and kind of grew, that they would go, all right, let's do this thing right this time.
And maybe that's where we're at with Google Plus.
Exactly.
Well, exactly. So you move up the chart. I just thought this was interesting. I want to thank Raven for sending this over. And you see the Facebook guy? Is it me, though? For those that remember me from my early Tech Talk Radio days when I had the full beard, is that me?
You mean the one with the, The guy looks familiar.
Yeah. You think you know him from somewhere?
Officer, that's the man right there. I know you've heard that phrase before.
I kind of like that. Yep, there's Andy. He's right there. And then, of course, I moved to Twitter, and then, of course, Google Plus. So tell me something about Google Plus.
Still evolving.
Tell me something about Google Plus that's going to help me figure it out, because I think it kind of reminded me a little of how it was when I first started using Facebook. It took a little while of navigation, and I was actually a little afraid. I was afraid it was going to break something, because we know that with Facebook, you set up a Facebook account, you run through it, you add things, you create things, and how you set that up can sometimes, that can be the flow of it. It's like raising a kid. You got to do it right. And Facebook was kind of the same way. How can I set up Google Plus to really work for me to get the most out of it for me?
There are portions of Google Plus that I think are pretty quick, pretty easy, and there are other portions where it's like, really? I don't know. I'm not sure what this means. I think it's just a little kludgy in spots. I think technically it's still in beta, right? So, I mean, it's what it's going to be until they finally release it to the public. My fear, I'm going to state this again because I feel so strongly about it, loved Google Wave. And then I fell in love with Google Buzz. Some people don't like it. Some people don't use it. I like it. And the Google Plus, I can see the benefits of it. I'll tell you one benefit I noticed right off, is that the Google services versus all the others, I make a post, I make a mistake, a misspelling, I want to edit it, I want to clarify, I can do that in Google Buzz and Google Plus. Can't do that in Facebook, got to delete the whole post. Can't do that in MySpace, got to delete the whole post. How stupid. If I were those two, I would have, that's a no-brainer. That's an obvious. How stupid can you be to just let that ride?
Well, they do have someone, if you click on it, say you've typed something, you look and you go, oh, crap, I forgot to put and or the, some kind of connection. So you decide, okay, I want to edit. If you click within a certain amount of time, or I don't know how that works, you can usually adjust your post. Now, I don't know if they've taken that out, but I've seen that.
I think they've taken it out.
Oh, really? See, that's crazy. They need to have that.
The time limit, I'm trying to remember. What you're talking about is on, I know what you're talking about because I've experienced that too, and I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. The clock is ticking. Are you thinking about Dig?
No, actually, some on Facebook you could do that. I don't know if that's something they had from Dig, but
because that's where I first noticed that was on Dig, where I would make either, it wasn't a post, but it was a comment. If I made a comment on Dig, then the clock would start ticking. It goes, you have like 5 minutes to edit this.
Now they've been doing something on Facebook though that I thought was kind of interesting, Slick, or I should say Google Plus versus Facebook. With from what I understand, you really don't get the benefit of if you are a company and you have a brand and you want to create a Facebook account. You really never got a huge benefit from any kind of integration into the web. So if somebody was doing a web search, there was, with all your posts, with all your notes, you really weren't getting the benefit of that.
Oh, those idiots just jumped on the bandwagon. They just jumped on. In MySpace, I can see everybody jumping on the bandwagon because it's That's what I was trying to explain to some people. They were I don't think they really understood, and I truly believe this. I don't think they really understood the differences, the major differences, and the benefits of MySpace and Facebook. I've always used MySpace for promotion, not for interaction, not for friendship. It can be used for that, but its strength, its power is in promotion. Facebook is connection.
Right.
Me making a post, you saying all that stupid, or we start arguing or making fun of each other. Facebook is interaction. MySpace is promotion. It's one way. Facebook is back and forth.
Well, you didn't get that Google search capability within Facebook. You could find stories on MySpace, and you could find information on MySpace. Now, I'm wondering if Google Plus is going to take that a step further. I guess they were announcing this week, at least I heard in one of the tweets, that businesses can start to process their brands. They can start doing that in about 2 weeks on Google Plus, which is interesting then. Is it going to be a battle? I mean, am I going to be battling with the guys from Australia to get the brand TechtalkRadio? And how am I going to prove that I own that brand? Is it going to be from my email address? Is it going to be, is there going to be an application process? Are they going to charge for it? And would it be viable? There's a great business model right there. Charge for it. Yeah. They don't charge for it. I pay for advertising on Facebook. I've done it, and it worked. I was like, wow. I got it. I paid $35 over a weekend, and the goal was if I get one sale out of this, it'll pay for itself, and it did, a couple times over. And I'll probably do it again when I think it's going to be slow. I just wonder if the same capabilities are going to be a part of Google using Google AdSense or using the Google Publishing program.
I don't know. I'm going to wait to see what Google Plus turns out to be. Looks like Twitter's kind of figured out a little bit on how to get some sponsored posts and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they went in slowly. I have a lot of respect for them, and because you mentioned earlier about we talked about startups and people losing money and stuff like that. I think we've gotten to the point now in our society where we know, at least we're comfortable with and we're used to, and we know that's the way it's worked, and it's probably the way it's going to work. Where you got an idea, you put it up, you get your investors, angel investors. People are going to lose money. Maybe it'll work, maybe it doesn't. If it does work and it goes big, then those who took the gamble, took the Las Vegas gamble, are going to score and win big and gain and walk away. As what happened with Twitter. I mean, they did it, and then people like throwing money at it. They never ran out of money. They had money to spend, so they didn't have to worry about going out of business or going offline. I've actually used some services that were somewhat like Twitter. I wish I could remember the name of this. Oh, I think it's Rever. That's still active.
No, it was. I remember you would use a service. It sounded like that.
Yeah, but it was more than 140 characters, and it was similar to Twitter, and there was another feature of it that I thought made it an also ran. Not necessarily that it was better, but in some aspects it was better. But it was if you don't like Twitter and Twitter's too short and too locked down for you, use this one because it's even better in that regard. But they gave up. They ran out of business. Hey, our friends over at 12 Seconds, remember them?
Yeah, I remember them. And Monty, I want to say Lipman. Is it Monty or it's one of the Lipmans?
Yeah. Great idea. Only 12 seconds worth of video. You just do a quick post. Hey, my feet stink, and then off you go.
My favorites were Shaq's.
Were what?
Oh, Shaquille O'Neal's posts.
Oh, yeah.
They were just fun. It was fun to see a celebrity.
I thought it was a really great idea. I'm sorry. I think what happened was, Saul. That's his name, Saul.
Saul Lipman, yeah.
Yeah. He and Beach. Remember Beach?
Yeah. Here's the thing I'm wondering about now. And I don't want to get you off track here because we're talking about Twitter a little bit.
All right.
in the scheme of things, then with Google and Facebook and MySpace is still there. Justin Timberlake's, participation. They're hoping they could turn it more into a entertainment venue. Will they take over Movie Phone?
You think?
Who knows? IMDb? No. Is it possible though for a company like AOL, Time Warner, to still? Well, they're not even. Are they still even Time Warner? Is it possible for?
No, it's not Time Warner. No,
yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Is it possible for AOL or Yahoo to rise from the ashes and actually become a player where people are connecting and it's bringing in revenue? AOL keeps making these announcements like we're doing this and we're doing that, and come back to AOL and here you can get your old screen name back. Participate.
Yeah, here I think they got to be careful. They got to be careful because as weak as they are, their strengths still are as portals. AOL and Yahoo still the strength is in being a portal. Now, the My Yahoo, they should hang on to that. There's Yahoo groups. I don't think they should give up with that. They've been trying to integrate some social networking aspects into using their email because that's when most people, I think, when they use Yahoo services, Yahoo email and AOL email are the biggest portions of their services. So they've been trying to integrate little social networking tie-ins with that. They got to be careful because I think they can drive people away, at least people like me, because when I go to my Yahoo email and my AOL email, I can see the creep coming in, and sometimes it's too much. I'm just trying to focus on email, so I'll shut down all the social networking. So I'll shut down Yahoo Messenger, because when I want to use Yahoo Messenger, I use the client. When I'm desperate and I can't use the client, maybe I'll use the web interface. But I love the client. I love the Yahoo Instant Messenger client. They got to be careful, or they're just going to drive people away. All they need to do is make one big mistake, Andy, and it's over for them.
Well,
one.
I almost felt like that because I decided to give their interface a try, where the interface was, you have your news, you create it. It's like kind of remember like iGoogle. You could set it up the way you wanted. And I thought, hey, this doesn't look that bad. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
But then there was an ad on the right-hand side for, like, I guess it sees that I'm single, and it says, singles in your area, blah, 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 hot girls ready to talk to you now. I'm thinking, what the heck? What? I'm a 49-year-old male. I'm not a 28-year-old, so obviously this service is not appealing to me, and so I haven't gone back since.
My favorite one are the ads on Facebook that apparently must be geared towards me. I'm trying to remember. It's probably on other services too, but it's the ones that say, "Hey, younger woman for older men." Now, initially, I'm a little like, yeah, I'm not interested. But then I see the picture and I go, well, maybe I am. Thanks. If you could hook it up because I'm getting awful lonely.
That older woman is going to be the lady from Titanic.
Well, there's another discussion which we could say for another time for some other projects that we do, some other content that we produce, with the conversation of older women for younger men, which I'm all for. I've always been for that. Love the experience. But this younger women for older guys thing, I mean, I guess it must be prevalent if the ads are targeting me. I mean, it must be a prevalent situation where they feel the need that ad for my age, my demographic is desirable and acceptable, I guess. I don't know. I'd rather see just a plain, and I'm 49, if that helps anybody. Yeah. I'd rather see just a plain dating ad rather than younger women for older men.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just don't even want to see that, though. See, I'm a gearhead. Show me an ad for some kind of tech product. And
show him a hot video card that runs for a couple $100.
That's what I'll be drooling. Oh yeah, video.
Well, there was a woman in the ad. Where? I didn't see her. And she was naked too.
Somebody get me a tissue. Oh God.
Well, what else about Google Plus? I mean, because you're on Google Plus. We're in Google Plus. I do like the Google Plus. The group chat, the Hangout. That's a great idea. Yeah. Great idea.
I haven't experienced the Hangout yet. Now, I want to mention Fox 781. Thank you for visiting our show. I mentioned here in the chat room a couple of things. She said, Facebook is driving me nuts with their video chat. See, there's some people who just don't want to do it.
Yeah, I don't want to do it either.
It's aggravating because of the changes they're making. They're not done, and they're taking away. They've taken away a lot of people. So a lot of people are saying, okay, video chat, I'm out of here. There's some people who don't even like the idea that this is going to be something that is possible. Gandalf says, let's see. Okay. Gandalf made some great posts here in the chat. Gandalf, make sure you copy this chat. I'd like to post this on the website. Some good stuff there. But I'm not going to read all of them, but he's had some good posts in there as well.
Yeah. Speaking about our chat, which you can look at and jump to and go to, it's techtalkradio.com/live. Just as a quick side note, we're about coming close to an hour into our broadcast. Just to let you know, within the first, and I don't know why, but within the first 20 minutes, I could not see anything on Ustream. Now, it had to have been working because Gandhi was in the chat room talking, so he must be picking up the stream. But I couldn't see it.
Yeah, I'm. How do I say this? I really shouldn't say this because I'm not paying for their service for Ustream, but I'm getting disappointed with it. The ads.
I'm just wondering if I'm the only one that experienced that. We're having problems. Because Andy and I use Skype to make the connection. We were able to do the show, but I was trying to watch the playback and I couldn't for 20 minutes. I couldn't see the playback. Just the circle.
I don't know. People keep telling me, "Oh, go to live stream. Go to live stream." I'm thinking, Ustream is one of the biggest. I've been with them a long time. So, I know Brad. I've talked to Brad many times. He's always been available when I've needed him for a phoner about stuff they're doing for the troops. Because, that's what Ustream was originally started. It was a brainchild of some guys who said, hey, let's do this as a way for our troops to connect with their families. And then it just blew up into this social, live streaming, which it just still makes me laugh because it was so difficult back in the 90s to stream audio.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have the bandwidth to stream video, but to stream audio. And, Bill Grace, who was a part of Tech Talk Radio, pioneered us in, we were streaming in Shoutcast, in QuickTime. We were streaming in Windows Media. We were streaming in Real Audio. We had all 4 streams going audio-wise in a time when it was so difficult to do. And I always thought they're going to make this easier. And they never had. They just switched to video. Something that tapes up. And I think, there are some services out there like Blog Talk Radio and some other ones that kind of make the process better. But it's actually easier to set up a video stream through Ustream or live stream. But the for the individual who wants to have their own server, it's going to cost way too much money. So you're joining the bandwidth of the others, but they have to monetize it somehow. So I have to be
fair,
cognizant of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, we can appreciate the service, but not like the way the service is being done. I mean, I've still got mad love for Ustream because, they were there when we started, and I mean, they helped us out, and the people in Ustream that we have made contact with seem to be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've been helpful to us. But there are some things about the service we just don't like, to be honest.
I would prefer the ads during the show. If you want to run, go ahead and run 3 minutes of ads. Let us start at a regular time. And then we'll just get rolling. But most people will know. I think they know. Most people know that. So what do? I mean, I would never think of watching CSI or Law and Order, and then all of a sudden an ad popping up right in the middle of what somebody's saying. Let them take to a break. Give a countdown to the producer saying, hey, ad's going to be coming up. So hey, we're going to take a break. Come back. Blah blah blah. But I guess that's too difficult to do.
Yeah. Hey, let's jump back to something. You mentioned FrostWire earlier that you found it on the computer and had to take it off. Let's just cover that a little bit real quick.
All right, so P2P is getting more press now because it's been announced that ISPs have been given the go-ahead to go after customers. And what they're doing is they're sending, and I know a few friends of mine that have actually received this letter saying, hey, listen, here's a violation. Here's a copy of the violation. Here's who owns the copyright. They're actually inspecting packets of data that has traveled between the P2P sites.
Did I complain about this last week?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this. Okay. And my buddy showed me the letter. And it's broken down. It's who the copyright holder is.
Is it letter or email?
It's an email. And it's a long email. And it's one that I don't see people reading all the way through without getting scared. Mm. It's not finding them. It's not an RIA, complaint. It's an ISP complaint saying, this needs to stop. If this continues, we will have no doubt but to throttle back your service, or in some cases even delete the service. And this was one of those issues that, the other day my daughter was saying, their computers were slow, said and I got a letter from the Comcast cable that said, "Hey, we have reason to believe there's a bot on your computer." So I thought, interesting. So of course went through all the computers, and I found one of them had this FrostWire on it. Now I checked, and there were no songs in the incoming or the shared or whatever. So deleted it, completely removed it, the whole bit. So hopefully that's where the bot problem is coming from. Unless it's on my daughter's Xbox 360, I don't know.
You mentioned FrostWire, and
Yeah.
I think some people, especially if you have kids and then you don't really know what's going on. I mean, you think the LimeWire was so publicized that people probably should be, most people, at least half, should be aware of it by now. But then they hear FrostWire, they don't really know that FrostWire is a P2P, peer-to-peer file sharing program similar to LimeWire, and that people have just switched to that. Here's the thing, and I told the story last week. I'm not going to get too deep into it. I'm not even going to rehash it. But here's the thing about FrostWire and some of these peer-to-peer and file sharing programs you got to watch. This is the point. If you're using them, not only are you getting files, but you're sending files. You're giving files. So you have to look through the program, because I think that's where you're going to get tagged first. They're going to watch and see what's coming away from your computer. And if you're sharing copyrighted material, pirated material, that's where they're going to nail you first. Not so much as the receiving. The sending first. I'm not saying that they're not going to catch you from receiving pirated content. I'm saying they're going to look first at the stuff going up.
Well,
so
actually,
you have to go through the program.
I'll tell you what. The letter that my friend had showed me, it said that you had they had downloaded this data. So they didn't say where it was downloaded from. I think there may have been the mention of the word torrents on there. But they had downloaded, and it actually specified the song that they supposedly had downloaded. So it wasn't
That's what happened over here,
yeah, not necessarily shared, but downloaded. And that's, there's a big, there's also a higher fine involved when you're sharing. So I don't know. Now, have they connected to just the torrents and P2P? Are they connecting to Usenets? Because a lot of people download books and movies and films off Usenet. Can they even do that? That's one of those questions.
Yeah, I just think, just based on experience and monitoring the experiences of others, I think, again, they seem to get caught when they don't turn off the uploading feature. Downloading, I know a lot of people, including me, I have to admit that I probably have obtained some copyrighted material or pirated. I wasn't trying to rip anybody off. I go, I like that file. It's a song, I haven't heard it. I downloaded it. So probably guilty. But I've never had a complaint because I go through the file sharing software and turn off the uploading. Because I think that's a key in a lot of, now, like you said, they didn't complain about the uploading, but I think that's kicking off where they get caught. I really do.
Yeah, on the torrent sites.
Yeah.
Or on the torrent shares, depending on, FrostWire has been one. What are some of the other ones in the past? BearShare, and there's other ones. They're still out there. It's not like they're all gone. But as and that's the thing. If you're a parent, whether your child is 10 years old or 22 years old and still living at home, if this is on your computer and you pay that bill, you can be held liable for it. It's like having drugs in your car.
Yeah.
If you get pulled over, as owner of the car, you could be the one going to jail if you're the one driving the car. So it's the same kind of aspect is hey, you could say, well, I didn't know this was going on. Well, you should have.
Yeah.
So that's why they're recommending parents learn how to block out certain sites. They can learn how to stop computers from installing. There's so many different features. Windows 7 is one of, if you're running a PC, that gives you the ability to block out easily things. You can also do it on the router level. And another reason, too, to lock out your router, because who's to say the guy isn't sitting across the street downloading content? Yeah. Or your neighbor isn't grabbing your Wi-Fi and not only downloading that, but what if they're tapping into adult sites that feature content where the models aren't over the age of 18? You can get tagged with that. That's something you don't want. You do not want.
Speaking of content, here's something I wasn't aware of. I meant to mention this during the last show, but we kind of ran out of time. But I'll just mention it real quick here. Just to show you how some things just slip by me. Guitar Hero and Rock Band, Andy. How familiar are you with their status?
Well, from what I've heard, I know that from what I've heard, Guitar Hero is done. I mean, it was
Right.
basically bought, and that's it. They're not going to do any more. They're not going to do anything else with it.
Right. So Andy and I talked. I may have mentioned it before on the show that I've been helping out a friend of mine. He owns a computer shop, and the computer shop's on the military base. It's Davis-Monthan Air Force Base here in Tucson, Arizona.
Right.
And they actually at the BX, the Base Exchange, which is like the department store. They have little shops, and his is a computer shop, and one of them at the end is what's the gaming store? The brick and
GameStop.
mortar. GameStop. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, they've got a GameStop. So I got nosy. I'm like, well, I shouldn't know what's in the GameStop here in case anybody comes in the computer shop and asks me. So I go down and I walk. This is a little store. So I'm walking around looking at the games, stuff like that, and I see the guitar, the real guitar that you actually use for Rock Band and guitar. I think it was for Rock Band. And I'm talking to the guy, and I go, "Oh, there's the guitar, the real guitar for Rock Band." And he says to me, "Yeah, and they're not even doing that game anymore."
Yeah.
So they shut both down?
Yeah. Both are going to go bye-bye. It was
Go bye-bye or gone bye-bye?
I think gone bye-bye.
Okay.
You could still buy them. Will a third party, maybe, produce more songs? I don't think it's going to happen. And it's kind of funny because we went the whole route. We did I went out during Christmas and I bought the whole Guitar Hero band configuration with the drum set and the guitars and the whole bit. And
DJ
seriously,
Hero?
Yeah, I've got DJ Hero as well. They probably
They got you good.
They probably played. They probably played. How many hours, Gloria, would you say that they played Guitar Hero? Maybe a couple of days worth.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
They like the drum.
Yeah, same thing over at a friend of mine's house. Her daughter went out, and her daughter wound up getting some money and was, buying herself little toys, to make herself happy to kind of, to celebrate a little bit. One of the things she got was, I think it was Rock Band. I don't think it was Guitar Hero. She got Rock Band, but she got the drums.
Yeah.
She got the guitar. She may have even got two guitars. She got the mic. She may have even got two mics. And I remember that they used it solidly for maybe about a week and a half, maybe two at the most. Since then, and this has been a while ago, there are parts everywhere all over the house.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, the guitar is always laying on top of a pile of clothes, and I'm like, then what? Okay. Maybe it was just a treat for them. And some people, sometimes we humans, we just buy things that make us happy for the moment, and it's over, and the money's
done,
wasted.
yeah.
But we were happy, so
I don't know. I'm a pretty thrifty shopper. When it comes to having like gadgets, I have to make sure I really want that gadget, and I shop. Trust me, I shop. I don't just go in and go, I want that. Like my new thing I want to purchase is a camera. So I was originally looking at the Canon 7D, which is like $1,800, right? I can't afford that. So I was going to have one of the companies I work for buy it, and I was going to use it. Then the 60D. Now I've been doing so much shopping. I walk into stores, I talk to clerks. I'm finding out that, hey, I can get away and use the T3.2 or T2.3 or whatever and have the same pickup sensor, the same lens capabilities, the same high definition video on it, and I'll be very happy. And the price is probably more than half off of what that is. So, I do my shopping. You got to do that these days. You can just go buy stuff for your kids and then can't use it anymore.
yeah. Real quick to wrap up the Rock Band and Guitar Hero thing.
Yeah.
When I talked to the clerk at GameStop,
What did they say?
who seems pretty knowledgeable. I mean, he's got to be knowledgeable. He's got to follow the industry because he's running the shop. He said to me, which makes sense, Andy, all we can do is shake our heads, man. All we can do is shake our heads. He said that the reason that the game, we know one of the reasons that Guitar Hero went down. It looks like it's the same reason that took down Rock Band. The record companies got greedy. They saw that they were able to make money, and they wanted more money, and the game maker said, tell you what we're going to do, we'll just stop. We'll just cancel the game.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You
And I believe him because we know how these record companies have been, and they'll never learn, Andy.
Yeah. I would not be surprised. I know that there was some lawsuits that had arrived because one of the groups had said, no, we allowed you to use our song, but not in the ad. It's It's
I
just
say
crazy.
go indie. I say every time these major music labels, worldwide, across the country, whatever, every time they get uppity and give you these funky attitudes, go indie. There's a bunch of good indie musicians out there and indie labels. Just go indie.
Yeah, which I think some artists are doing.
Yeah.
You know, they're saying, "All right, we'll just do it ourselves," because they're not getting airplay. It used to be the record label would get you the airplay, and get you in the stores, get you in the merchandising, the whole bit. They don't get the airplay anymore because stations don't play it. My God, the local hip hop station here in town, the rotation on it is 45 minutes for A songs. You have different categories of songs. 45 minutes. That means you can hear a song 45 minutes later, you can hear another song because they valued this market at a 23-minute turnaround, meaning that people will tune in for 23 minutes. But how many people did they survey in 1 million people that only listen for 23 minutes?
My biggest complaint is not even a good song, much less. I mean, we can debate whether it's popular or not. I'll have the debate now, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But a good song, good hip hop song, good country song, whatever you want to call it, it's got to be good. You got to hold the audience. It's not just a promotional tool. Everybody, not just that.
Although I like the new Adele.
I don't think I've actually had a chance to hear it. I have not intentionally listened to radio in a very, very, very long time. I've intentionally listened to my computer.
Yeah.
I've listened to streams and watched streams. However, I did break out my headset radios because I was thinking about, now that I'm back in the reception area, because before I was on the far west side of town, really the signals are just horrible. I think the signals are probably better where I am now on the far east side of town, even though the wireless phones are the same because I'm still so far out. But I'm going to give radio another shot and go up and down the dial. But the content is still not there where you do station no. I'm tired. I'll turn it off.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I listen to a lot of radio. I do. Although I've been finding myself listening to a type of radio that I would only listen to generally on the net if it wasn't on the air, and that's the comedy radio channel in town. I found that I listen longer. The TSL I would hope would be high because although they're starting to get into the rotation of the comics the same way as radio, where like, wait, I've heard this bit. It's like, okay, maybe I am listening too long. But there's so much great comedy out there. You would think they'd have that nailed.
Yeah.
And
to clarify, I love radio. I'm in love with radio. I will love radio till I die. However, not a good date. It's not been a good date.
Yeah.
If it's just not super serving for me, just not super serving me, super serving your public, you're just not doing it right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why you can't hold me.
All right.
What you got?
So I wanted to talk. Talking about Google Plus. So the best way to find out about Google Plus and this Hangout feature, I don't understand that.
All right. Well, let me see if I could jump into it. Let me see if I'll try to log on to a Google account. My Google account. Are you logged into Google?
Let me get into my Google account. I can do that. All right. So I'm going to plus.google.com, or you can just log into your account.
Yeah, we're going to a hangout.
Okay, it says sign in. So I sign in. Let me see here. Okay. Oh, by the way, you mentioned something. I've got to tell you. And some of you will find this to be rather funny. You were talking just a second ago about things that you've heard clerks say.
Yeah.
I think that should be a great website. Things you've heard clerks say. You'll love this one. This really happened. I'm at Walmart, and I'm walking by the. I always go to because I beeline. When I go into Fry's, I beeline to the fried chicken. When I go into Walmart, I beeline to the electronics. Gloria can be in there and she'll say, I need stuff for my hair or whatever. I'll say, meet me in electronics.
Guilty.
I do that all the time. Nothing changes. I mean, what do they add new movies? Okay, but I never see any big changes. I always look at the sale item. Anything I really want? No. So I'm in there the other night. It's about 11:30 at night. Gloria was coloring her hair or doing some of that woman foo-foo stuff.
Yeah.
And she needed to go in there. So I go back to electronics. And there's a woman in there shopping. And there's a clerk there. And she's asking him about this laptop. and I hear him say, yes, this AMD processor is made by Intel.
And you just stood there?
No, I kind of started walking a little slower. And she says, Intel, and he goes, yeah, they make all of the processors. And this one, and I look over and I look at the screen, and it says in big letters next to it, AMD, whatever their processor name structure is right now. Right? Yeah. And I said, I hate doing it because I don't want to look like that know-it-all geek guy, but I couldn't help it. I didn't want this lady, and she was questioning what he was saying. So I said, AMD is a different processor. And he goes, no, they're all made by Intel. Right? And she stopped and she looked at me and I said, no, AMD is made by Advanced Micro Devices, and it's a completely different processor, although there has some good features in it. But it's not Intel. Right? And she looked at him, and he looked at her, and he looked at me, and he goes, well, okay, it has this much memory. And I'm like, lady, walk away. Run. Gloria comes around the corner. I said, that lady should just run. I need to go up there and tell her, lady, get out now while you can. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's hard because I've been in stores like Best Buy and stuff, and you hear the information being given so wrong. I try to find the line. I go, all right, I won't say anything until they go way too far with this, and then I'll correct. Because I can't. I'm not just gonna let or I'll hang back and I'll chase the customer. As they head towards the door, and I'll go, I need to talk to you. That guy, he gave you the wrong information.
Do you remember the episode? I don't know if you do. You remember the episode of Big Bang Theory where they go to the computer store? I thought it was so funny because every single geek identified with that. That we've been in a computer store and somebody will just look at you and they can tell, whether you're wearing the Tech Talk Radio shirt or whatnot. They'll ask you a question, and you know what? You will get an honest answer if you see Slick and me at a computer store. At like Best Buy or Office Depot, whatever, you will get an absolute 100% honest answer from us. And if we don't know, we're going to say, I really don't know. I've never looked at that one. You ask a clerk that, and they're going, oh, no, it's great. Well, has the clerk used it? To be able to say it's great?
Yeah.
I got nothing against stores, but I just wish their employees, if they don't know, don't guess. Don't suppose. Learn about the product. And I wish I could have told that lady, run fast, lady, get out of there.
Yeah, actually, that issue somewhat came up in the shop over the past week. I'm big and huge, and a lot of people don't like it. And when I say people, I mean customers. Yeah. I can see where you're, as a customer, you're looking for a straight answer. You're looking for the answer that you want and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes, I have to hedge my bets because things happen, things change. So I say, based on the information I have available to me now, this is the way it's worked in most cases. All the cases, I don't give an absolute. I don't say every time it works this way. I don't say that. Because there's always that one time. And sure enough, it happened in the shop this week. Lady brought it in the past week. She brought in a computer. There were some problems. Probably a hard drive. Had to be replaced. Had to put on a new copy of Windows. Put on the generic. Here's the thing. And I won't get too detailed about it. Sony computer came with an OEM, original equipment manufacturer's version of Windows 7. Everything worked. All right, but the hard drive died. Didn't have the installation software. So replace the hard drive, new hard drive, and you put on a generic retail copy of Windows. And everything should kick back in.
Right.
But it didn't. It didn't because, remember, retail generic for white boxes, if you will, computers, OEM, original equipment manufacturer's version of Windows that are tweaked for the hardware that you get from the manufacturer. Sony, Gateway, Dell, HP, all of them.
Did it was it blue screening or just not even getting past the startup?
Don't remember what the exact problem was, but it got to a point to where it had to change out the drive. And because she didn't have her original installation software, for whatever reason, lots of conversation we could have about that, had to get a generic version of Windows and install it, which we did. And after you installed it, it worked great. Immediately everything worked fine. I call the customer, have them come pick up the computer. This is where things can go wrong. When you try to, once things work, do you stop there, even though you can provide your attempt is now to provide a much better service for the customer and make them happier and make things better for them. That's where things can go wrong because as we added on updates to Windows. So we did the plain vanilla installation.
Right.
Still, eventually, it's going to want to do some updates from Microsoft, which it did. As the updates came in, the computer began to bog down and get slower. And now it's a 10-minute boot time.
Oh, ow, really? Oh, that's not good.
Okay.
Did you have Did you have a disk in the drive?
No.
No. Oh. No. I've seen that happen.
And as I do my research, check out the Sony, the model, a couple other complaints on Tom's Hardware about it. Okay. So don't feel bad. Don't feel bad at all. Plus, things changed. The initial plain brown wrapper installation worked. When you go to add, to strengthen the operating system, now there are problems with the hardware. Again, keep in mind, it's not the operating system from Sony that Microsoft gave to Sony.
Oh, this is a VAIO. Oh, no wonder. I hate VAIOs. I'm sorry. I love Sony cameras. I just don't like the VAIO. So
now here we are trying to explain to this customer, very nice woman, who's a regular person. We're the geeks, we're the nerds, we're the techies. So now we're trying to explain to her why her computer, which, brand new drive and new operating system, is worse now than it was before in regards to performance. And I look on the Sony website and I see things that, I'm thinking initially, all right, we got to start at the beginning. Is there a BIOS update? No, there's no BIOS update. But then I do find, after doing some serious digging, I find system updates directly from Sony, and there was some other kind of update, and I'm thinking, well, now I got to, probably have to put these on to make it better. But now I become Sony. Yeah. I don't want to become Sony.
Yeah.
I want to be responsible for what I should be responsible for.
Sony's, I have found, and this is just my experience in working with them, are very proprietary when it comes to what is installed, how it's installed. And I found that the Sony VAIOs can be really a pain in the butt when it comes to getting the OS on there. Now, we had did you end up getting a faster boot time on it?
No. I mean, we did the right things, we did the correct things. We were not wrong. Technically, we were not wrong. But from this poor customer, nice woman, all she knows is what she's got to take home.
Right.
And we had to charge her at least for the labor.
Yeah, what do you say? At this point where it's slow, it's still slow. Unless they have the original disc, that's a difficult spot to be in. I had an HP that came in, and because I fixed them as well, and we ended up having to do a motherboard replacement, a memory replacement on it. It looked like it took some kind of a power surge, so we did that. Actually, power supply as well. And the problem is, it didn't have the discs. And remember, HP does have a partition on their hard drive. However, if it doesn't have the board that the system originally shipped with, doesn't have it's almost called a footprint stamp. If it doesn't have that, you're not going to be able to get it installed. Good luck. And basically, that's what we ran into. So I had to take my copy, and after doing a lot of reading, I had to take my copy of Windows Ultimate Vista. They had Vista Ultimate. I had to install that, use their code, have it fail authentication, but get it installed, then go online and process it with their OEM number, and it took. But it was quite a few steps to do. I mean, that's and the average consumer is not going to know how to do that. So that's why you want to take it to a shop that knows what they're doing. And but that's the one thing though, you could do stuff like that with HPs and Dells and even Compacts. You could force it. However, when it's a Sony, I have found it to be a freaking nightmare.
Yeah. And you feel bad. I mean, you look to the customer like an idiot. You're not, right, but that's the way it looks, And you don't want to put people in a worse situation than they were. I mean, you want to be honest with them, and you've been up front with them and told them the truth. And, because I've had that happen with calls from Microsoft. I try to warn the guy, I go, listen, I got to warn you. I owe it to you. I have to tell you, we could lose all the data on this. Only you have to say it because it's happened before. Guy goes, oh, we're not going to lose the data. And we lose everything. And he goes, and now he's mad. But I told him.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, there's no reason I think, unless you have a drive failure, where the drive is completely failed and it's the click of death, and it's an internal drive. I say that because you can take externals out and actually save them in some cases because the power supplies on the externals go out. And if you've even exhausted the idea of changing out the power board on it, but if it's a click and the drive's been dropped and it's been beat up. Unless you want that data saved, where you're sending that data to a repair house that does that in a white room, then consider that data lost. But I mean, in most cases, even when it's a power supply issue, data can be retrieved, data can be saved, even if it's been deleted over, with on-track tools. And I know that your guy there has those tools available to him, and those those are great when they work. But and that's the downside of sending a drive back to a manufacturer. They're not going to do your data backup.
Yeah, they don't care. They're about numbers. They're getting it out of there.
So when something fails, you need to go through the process, but you also need to take it to an expert that may be able to retrieve that data off that drive. And in some cases, this has been, with a 500 gigabyte, we have larger size drives now. It's a little more difficult, but a 500 gigabyte drive or a terabyte drive, if the power board on that fails, what do you do? Do you lose all that data? You don't have to. Take it to somebody that knows what they're doing first, see if they can recover it, and then go through the standard warranty replacement. That's probably the best thing you can do.
In the middle of a super, super, super long data recovery procedure right now, there's most drives that I've experienced, and I'm speaking on behalf of the guy that owns the shop, really. It seems that they take, sometimes a day, maybe 2, maybe 3. This drive is taking, and I'm not kidding, Andy, it's taking 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
The guy wants the data.
Right.
And we're trying to salvage it off the drive bit by bit. Yeah. And it's taken 2 weeks, and it's holding up all the other computers in line too, as well, because it's going to take 2 weeks to get the data off this drive.
Right.
Running 24/7.
Wow.
Yeah. It's so slow. First I was looking at it because the initial readout it gave to me was like blah, blah, blah hours. I'm like, really? All right. So then I did the calculation. Wait a minute. That's days. That's quite a bit. Oh, you'll be proud of me. I've always, when I started on computing, I'm all about breaking apart technology that you're not going to use anymore because I just like to see what's on the inside. Always been that way from youth till now. And I've slowly evolved into cracking cases. Towers. I wasn't big on opening a tower, but then, I'm like, all right, open a tower, and then, all right, I got that experience. All right, I'm a little bit more comfortable with that now. Same with notebooks, and I'm like, I'm not trying to fix a notebook. To me, it's like, it's like a radio. You buy it, it breaks, you throw it in the trash. Well, now I'm working in a shop where we're literally, like you, are peeling it apart, tiny piece by tiny piece. So I'm getting into that. So my fear is I'm going to be experienced enough now to where I can't say I don't want to deal with it and I don't know how to deal with it anymore. I didn't want to get there, but in helping a friend, I'm actually getting there. So just before I've gotten this more experience about cracking open the notebook computers, about a week or two ago, I did my first, and you'll be proud of me. Never intended to do it, just happened to do it. Me following instructions, and it works. Following manufacturer's instructions, even. I cloned my first drive.
Whoa, really? Wow. Yeah. Now, which drive? Which manufacturer?
Now, this is not against other manufacturers because I haven't really had a chance to use their drives and their software. But the drive in question was I was given a Western Digital 2.5-inch drive, 320 gigabytes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So I looked at the drive. I go to the manufacturer's website. I do my research, and all right. So how do you do it? You hit the drive to the connect. Okay. So I did this. I used an external drive adapter, the toaster like we have.
Right.
Popped the brand new drive in there. Downloaded the software from Western Digital. Again, read up on it before I did it, but downloaded it, saved it, installed it, launched it, followed the instructions. It took me a couple of times because there are 3 options on this particular software. Each software is probably different, but my experience.
Use the whole partition, partition
exactly.
it out. Yeah.
Exactly. So I went as far as I could with all 3 options before I had to commit to it to try to see what I was going to. So the first one was custom because I got 320 gigabytes on the drive, free. I want to pull over all the data from the old drive, and I only need about a 7 gig partition on the new drive for the partition, that holds the installation software. So I'm thinking I can modify it in the interface and get it to work out. Well, it didn't work out. Obviously, I'm doing something wrong.
Right.
Start over. So I go back and I try the other 2 options. I don't know what choice I made that was wrong. It seemed pretty straightforward to me. I was trying to tell it, all I want is just this 8 gigabyte partition over here, and then make everything else available.
See, you're trying to change things up. Can't do that.
Okay. So I went back to the other two. Now, the first one is the down, dirty, and simple, which is we'll make the decisions for you and clone the drive.
Yeah.
So I try to go to the middle one. And the middle one allowed me to offer some input as to the cloning process about size. I don't remember what my choices were. Oh, I know what it was. It was to make it proportionate, if you will.
Right.
So if you had a 10 gigabyte drive and you have 2 gigabytes partitioned for the installation software, and let's say now you have a 100 gigabyte drive, it would make 20 gigabytes the partition for the installation software. So I went with that one. So I've got more available space on the partition on the hard drive for the installation software from the original manufacturer of the computer than I really wanted. But I'll live with it. I'll live with it until a later time.
Well, what you could even do now is the main thing I think in cloning a drive is get that data from one drive to the other, get that drive bootable. Now what you could do is you go out and get a partition magic software that's available. And I'm trying to remember who makes it.
I probably have a lot of it installed and just haven't had the time to, because I've still been downloading software to try and use and free stuff and all that kind of stuff, and because it's time limited, I had to install it that day, so I probably got it, but I just haven't had a chance to sit down and fire it up and look through it.
Yeah. Well, tell you what, let's take a quick break.
Okay.
Real quick one, and then what we're going to do, Justin is going to join us, and we'll see what he has to bring to the table for the show today. We'll be back with more of Tech Talk Radio in just a couple of minutes. And we're back with more of Tech Talk Radio. Thank you for hanging out. I hear an echo. Who's echoing? That was Slick. You've got Slick on the phone. You've got Justin. Now, we have like 5 minutes. That's it.
Hey.
5 minutes to kind of share. We wanted to get Justin in here. Justin at TechtalkRadio.com. You can actually visit our website and actually check out his Twitter feed. All right, so Justin, what do you have to add to the show this week?
Well, only a couple things this week. We got Apple's talking about rumors are having that they are working on a new iPad HD.
HD?
So it's going to be something, kind of think MacBook versus MacBook Pro. So the rumor has it that this new iPad is going to have twice the resolution, twice the processing power as the original iPad, and it will be used to do high-end video editing and production. So that should be out sometime later on this year.
Oh, okay. All right. Any idea on pricing? They keep it at the same that they have?
It's something they were saying that the screen itself, because it's going to have dual resolution, is probably going to cost somewhere around $500 just for the screen. So it's probably going to be way more expensive. You look at a MacBook versus a MacBook Pro. MacBooks go for about $1,000. MacBook Pros start at like $1,700, $1,800. So you're probably going to get probably about $1,000 for this one.
$1,000? Who's going to spend $1,000 on a tablet?
Dude, we're talking about Apple here. There's going to be plenty of people that are going to spend $1,000 on.
I forgot Apple heads have a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Other than that, the new Star Wars, the full trilogy or full
Blu-ray. Yeah, the Blu-ray.
The Blu-ray, exactly. But the full, what do you call it? A trilogy is 3. What do you call 6?
6.
I forget. 6. There you go. The 6
The
pack.
full saga. It would be the saga.
There you go.
Something?
What is that?
Sextuple thing?
Sextuple. I like the 6-pack. The Star Wars 6-pack is going out on Blu-ray, but a lot of Star Wars geeks out there are talking about that this is going to be just another way for George Lucas to grab your money and run, because they did not do the proper processing apparently to get the best quality Blu-ray out of it.
How do they know? Wait, how do they know? They haven't even seen it yet. That's what? You know who's saying that?
Whoa, what is all this?
Oh, those stupid ads, and they're in Spanish.
In Spanish ads. I'm watching the live stream there. You know what? I'll just back out of that.
All right, wait a minute. How do they know? They haven't even seen it yet, number one. Number two, I think it's the Star Trek fans that are putting out this press.
You know what? You could very well be right, actually. But there's a lot of people out there that are just saying that I don't know how they got the specs off this. I think the actual specs of the Blu-ray are on the actual Star Wars page.
Right.
So maybe that's where they got the information from. I'm not quite sure. But they're talking about that this is going to be, I don't know if you remember, 2004? No. They re-released them in '99 or
Right.
something like that, and then they re-released them again in 2004. But the 2004 ones were hailed as being a much better version. So people think that this is going to be the equivalent to the 1999 ones, where it's not going to be such a good quality, but wait a couple more years and they'll re-release it again on Blu-ray, and it's going to be the best quality. I don't know, but
I think for people to buy it, it'll have to be a brand new format. Not
this
probably
is
not
kind
a
of
quality
new
change.
format.
Yeah.
But all I gotta say is it's something that I'm probably gonna pick up and hand shot first. That's all I gotta say.
What is that?
Hand shot first. Han Solo.
Oh. Yeah,
shot
people are going to
first.
be watching it to see Greedo.
I don't care what everybody says. Hand shot first.
That's the wonderful thing about
It's Han.
yeah.
Hand on whatever.
He said hand shot forward. I'm thinking hand. What's he talking about? Is this a
Han
family
Solo.
show? Or?
Han Solo. It's tomato, potato, potato. Whatever.
You know what? My whole thing. I don't mind George Lucas making more money as long as he puts more content. You know, I for those that have been on a film set, the cameras are constantly running. There's stuff that they constantly get. Give us as much as we want out of it. The story's the same. It's the extras that we pay for. Where are you going, Slick?
Somebody's knocking at the door, I think.
Oh,
No, I mean, but the thing is they said they're going to give like 30 hours of extra footage or extra documentaries, but a lot of the documentaries they were talking about are just really stupid. Things you really don't care about, things that even the hardcore geeks on. The biggest thing they were talking about that made the Star Wars geeks mad was they did not include the original films, the original cuts or something like that.
yeah, they should have done that.
Yeah, they were the original 1970s or whatever. They had plenty of room to do so, but instead they filled it up with these useless interviews and behind the scenes kind of thing.
Well,
so a lot of people were mad at that.
I kind of like the interviews. I mean, you know, Stuart Freeborn and McQuarrie, the artists and all that. That's the kind of stuff I like. Slick, what the hell?
Oh, all right. So nobody was really knocking at the door. I just trying to get out of this conversation.
Okay.
It's not Star Trek, man. It's not Star Trek.
Oh, you're a Star Trek
you're a
geek.
Trekkie. You're a
Oh,
Trekkie.
I see.
Well, if you're a Trekkie, let's talk about one other thing that I got to give to the show, and I think maybe you guys already touched on this.
All right.
I didn't have my internets earlier.
You have about 2 minutes.
I have about 2 minutes. Okay, here we go. Space Shuttle Atlantis final launch. The Space Shuttle program will be no more after this.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many people actually watched the launch out there. I was actually at my TV station when we did the launch. It was definitely a moment that I remember for the rest of my life, watching the final shuttle take off. So
Yeah.
what do you guys think about that?
Wow,
What do
you
you
got a
think?
little choked up?
Well, no. What do
I
you
did.
think's next for NASA?
I did. I was watching it live, and we're playing. I actually put it on the radio. I made the decision. All right, we'll stop the music and actually play the launch on the radio, which we did. And yeah, I got choked up. I mean, it's you think about it. It's innovation. It's the most amazing thing that we, other than creating life as humans, have really done to get off this planet and go into outer space. Some people will say, "Oh, we don't need to." I think it's just amazing that we've done that, and I do think it's bittersweet that we're stopping for a set amount of time till 2025. I guess is what they've predicted.
Wow.
And
25.
yeah,
Wow.
they're looking at commercial flights. That's going to be, we're going to have Southwest space travel or JetBlue into the darkness, taking us into space.
Would you do it if you had the money?
Yeah, if I had the money, I would. Yeah, once in a lifetime. You only live once. You might as well, try that.
Well, have either of you guys skydived?
No,
Have you what?
Skydived?
Not yet.
you're going to laugh. I've been in the plane, but I
And
came
you-
down. I came back down to the ground. Not because
I actually went.
Not because I chickened out. My buddy Paul did it.
Uh,
I just went along.
yeah, I skydived over Oahu, so that's definitely one of those things in bucket list.
Well, yeah,
cross
you were in the military. So you got to fire automatic weapons, and you got to do all that fun stuff.
What are you talking about? I do not get to fire automatic weapons. I don't get to fire any weapons.
Wait, you're telling me you've never fired an automatic like an AR-15 full auto?
Not full auto, and it wasn't in the military either. I was with good old Chuck Heller back in the day.
Dude, I was in Civil Air Patrol. I've fired fully auto.
I just never had the opportunity. I fired shotguns in the military. I fired 9mm in the military, but no, never fired
Really?
an AR-15 full auto. No.
I got I got an invite once from Vince Desi, the postal guy,
Yeah.
who's based here in Tucson, to go fire an M60. And I was like, I didn't feel like driving all the way out there. They were shooting way out in Vail, and I just thought, nah, it's not going to be fun. I wish I would have gone. They had pictures from the event. They got a really hot blind girl, and they put her on the M60 to see what target she could hit.
It's just like wrong.
Yeah, it was
No, it's not. She's hot. There's nothing wrong about that.
I think you can still see the pictures at his website at postal.com.
Nice.
Yeah.
They coming out with another game or what?
Probably not. There was, well, I don't know. You would hope they were. It was going to be Postal. What was going to be for the Xbox 360 or PS3? I think it did come out.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, actually, no. I remember
All right.
something about. I think they're going to
Justin,
come out with a new
all right,
one.
how many? Just before you leave, how many laps did you have to do last week?
I had to do 2.
2 laps. All right.
Yeah, and I'm about to do 3 more because by the time I get changed and get down there, so.
All right, we'll let you get going. Slick is gone too. Oh, there he is.
See my.
No, the alarm went off. Okay, got to do that today. Can't do that anymore. It's still my PDA thing.
All right.
All right, guys.
We'll see you later, Justin. Thanks. Next week, be here, will you?
Yeah, did you call Time Warner and tell that to them?
All right. We'll see you later.
All right, see you guys
Watch
later.
what's going to happen here. Go ahead and log off.
Yep, I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm trying.
All right,
Yeah,
watch
first
this.
you couldn't get on. Now you can't get him off the show.
Yeah.
Yep.
Watch what happens. There you go. See? Now we just got his lovely picture up there. And I don't know how long that'll stay up there, but we'll keep it up in the meantime.
Oh, leave it. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
perfect rendition. It looks just like him. Especially since he's not on. We can really.
There
pick
he
on him.
is. Yeah. All right. Some other things we wanted to cover. I know you wanted to cover some of the Apple stuff. Did you have more to give us about that?
About the cloning thing.
Yeah.
There was one other thing I was going to tell you. It wasn't really all that important. It was just an observation. But cloning the hard drive. Yeah, no, I think I've said my piece on that. It's just I've get more and more I get into doing things that I was just I guess mentally too lazy to do. It wasn't that I was ever afraid to open a computer case or anything like that. It's just like I just don't want to be bothered. So I became very fond of things that connect to the computer from the outside. USB ports, IEEE 1394, things like that. Plus it's portable and I could take it and use it on other computers and I don't have to worry about is it going to fit? Is it compatible? Any of that stuff.
Right. Well, have you gone to clients' houses yet to fix up their computer systems?
I have not. He does that, and I will probably be getting into a situation where I'm going to set up for him a business where I can remote in on behalf of his company.
Right. I'm just wondering how many people will say to you, how come you don't have a tablet? Because you're finding
He's told me that.
Really?
Because we go window shopping a lot, just for stuff. And I mean, he's been really kind to me. He's gotten me he wants me to wear certain types of shirts in the shop, and he's paid for them. He's taken me shopping, and we do window shopping, and we talk and compare stuff. And he's really into tablets. He asked me, "What do you think?" And I go, "Oh, I don't know." And we were in Office Depot and Walmart and probably some other store yesterday. And some of the tablets that I've seen now in person, but never really fully experienced. The smaller ones, there was a smaller one. It was, I guess, it's like a 5-inch tablet as opposed to a 7.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
The 5-inchers seem like vanity tablets to me. They're like things a woman would keep in her purse to keep her occupied if she's sitting in the dentist office waiting.
Wow.
The 7-inch tablets or 9. Those seem to be the ones that, if you're going to get any work done, those will be the one to try to get work done with.
All right. So let me ask you this: what do you think? Computer repair guy, should he show up with a laptop or a tablet?
Tablet PC.
Aha.
Because that's the other conversation we've had. I have a tablet PC that I've had for a long time, which really I can't use it anymore. I've maxed it out as far as RAM goes. It's 1 gig of RAM. I've wiped it out and put on the original equipment manufacturer's operating system, and then once I update it, it's just too slow for me. So I gave it to him thinking he might be able to use the parts or something. It turns out he actually might be able to use it for something. But personally, I bought the tablet PC to use in the studio during an air show while we're doing radio shows.
Right.
And I'm still pro tablet PC. I still am. Tablets have their place. My concern is that I like to be able to have the keyboard. Now there's a new generation of tablets coming out. In my mind, they're tablet PC, but they also have a keyboard that folds out from the back. So, but their promotional statement is we're a tablet, but they have a keyboard. So Yeah, and keyboard that folds out. So I'm still gearing toward, if I'm going to get a tablet, it would be like the one that we've had a chance to review from Samsung, because that's functional. Stereo speakers out, camera, front-facing camera, microphone on it, apps, calendar, that's fun. It's not an iPad. I'm not negative against the iPad, but only in regards to the iPad doesn't do the same stuff on a Windows machine that it does on a Mac. There are more features that will work with a Mac than it will with a Windows machine, like notes, and stuff, and the calendar and the contacts. I just kind of refreshed recently the features and the applications on an iPad. When you plug an iPad into a Macintosh, calendar sync, contact sync, notes sync, other stuff syncs. When you plug it into a Windows machine, unless you use Outlook, which is another $100 or so, or try to sync it with Google or whatever, it's not going to happen.
Well, that's what I kind of wonder how many people are going to use Google for jobs now. Will an auto mechanic set up a Google and allow the customers to log on and see photos of progress of a job, or or a landscaper, or a computer repair guy will have a client folder, and that's the client folder with all their drivers in it for their systems. I mean, it could certainly be used to a benefit.
Yeah, we're even the online storage areas, drives and stuff like that. We're actually moving towards that. We hooked up something that I don't know if I should say this in public, but I'll say it anyway. Something that we had hoped to get, you and I, that the company never sent out to us so we could properly review it. So that's why I'm hesitant to say it, but it's a Pogo plug. And I've had experience with the personal Pogo plug, and there are drawbacks. So this is not a full review, but I will say I feel, and I can say this fairly, there are drawbacks to the Pogo Personal. So before you pay for it, know what you want it to do, because as it turned out, the Pogo Personal didn't provide all the functionality for that this guy wanted, that the Pogo Professional, which I think costs 3 times as much, actually does.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, we're working on that in regards to this computer business, about putting drives and shares up on the internet where a customer, if they're looking for their files or whatever, they can just go download them right there. They don't have to come to the shop anymore and pick them up from us. Yeah. We upload them, you download them.
Nice thing about it is you've got them coming back to your brand on Google. You can password protect that folder so only they can see it with their Google Gmail account, and then they can have access to the files. I think, when you look at it that way, you wonder, well, maybe Google could overtake Facebook as far as it being used. But again, we're talking about a limited number. I don't know. Do you think Google Plus is going to overtake Facebook in a year?
Overtake? I don't, honestly, I just don't know. And probably not.
Is it too much? I mean, is it too much? I mean, you think about it, because then you have got Facebook, Yahoo. I mean, I still have Yahoo accounts. I know you do too. AOL.
Well, that's why I'm a
MySpace.
big advocate for OpenID. I love OpenID. There are a lot of services I don't use because they don't support OpenID, and Facebook was one of them, because they never supported. You kept saying, come to Facebook, come to Facebook. I'm going, no, they don't. I have to remember another username and a password. I don't want to. I want OpenID.
Well, how about Nimble, where you bring all of them together? Or Digsby was another one, where you bring them all together.
Digsby, I use some functionality of Digsby. I actually use Digsby more as a Twitter client than anything else. The other stuff is fine. It's just it doesn't work for me as well as a very low resource using Twitter client. So when TweetDeck wears me out, I dump I shut down TweetDeck and go on Digsby.
Hey, is it me, or does Twitter use a lot of resources?
They seem to now. Now, when you say a lot of resources, you mean the web interface or what?
Well, I just, at work, I'll have Twitter loaded and Facebook loaded, and Twitter will eventually crash over time. And I just wonder if it's just using up too many resources. I don't know. And we lost Slick. I thought he was pondering an answer. Let's see. All right, so what we'll do for the recorded stream, we'll go ahead and we'll just close this down and we'll kind of wrap this up. I'm Andy Taylor for Tech Talk Radio. We'll be back next week. Now, next week, we're going to be joined by a special guest. We'll be having an interview that you'll be able to listen into. Big announcement this week, huge announcement from Verizon, that Verizon was changing its policy on how it's going to handle unlimited services for their cell service. They decided to scale that back. So right now, that means Sprint is the only one that's offering unlimited service at a set price. And some are saying, well, I never use that much. Some are saying this is good news. So we're going to actually talk with a representative from Sprint about their pricing structure and why they're going to remain and continue to do the pricing structure that they're doing. So I'll have that for you. Also, Adobe Creative Suite is available. Premium production premium. If you're a professional that produces videos or film or wants to get into this, it's very affordable and very easy for you to do, whether you're doing it purchasing the software outright or doing a monthly subscription. We're going to next week have an interview from members of Adobe. You'll actually be able to find that on the website this week as well to find out the most about the programs. In the meantime, we'll go ahead, considering we had some technical issues, and we'll wrap the show. This is Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Have yourselves a very safe week.